Good morning, Paragon Community. It is your community manager here, KL Smith Arctic, joined by Nathan, Cameron, and Herman. Cameron is from the comp team. We're going to talk about Iggy and Scorch. He's going to talk about gameplay design. Herman is concept artist, and we will be talking about art for Iggy. So today's stream will be focused on the new build coming out Thursday. Really excited for the build.
Yes,
yeah.
It's exciting.
Lots of changes.
It's a lot of fun to play.
Lots of changes.
Certainly excited.
You've had a big part in some of the upcoming changes, Cameron. And down with CompQA, you guys were the initial group to kind of test some of the movement speed changes that we're going to be talking about here soon. So kind of pick your brain on that process a little bit as well. We have a couple things that we're going to talk about today. We have Marlo from the Paragon Community, who will be our guest as well up on stream. He's going to talk a little bit about replay system. We're going to answer him or ask him some questions, hoping that he can answer all the questions that we have. Should be a pretty fun stream today, I think.
Definitely going to be exciting.
Yeah. Talk a little bit about Pax East.
Fun. Pax hype?
Yes. Yeah. Pax hype indeed.
Should be real good.
Yeah.
All right. So let's get into some of this stuff that we want to talk about today. First and foremost, if you are part of the Paragon Reddit community, we are tentatively scheduling a Reddit AMA on April 29th. And the way that we've kind of thought about this, we want to do a live streamed AMA in addition to some of the traditional things you guys are used to, I guess, with Reddit. But we want to have on a sort of a panel of people that we're going to rotate from the studio. So we're going to have, I can name off the top of my head, our creative director, Steve Superville, Colin Fogel from CompQA. We'll have Joe Harrington, who is our lead systems designer. We might even have Kevin Abbott up, also systems designer. And then we're going to rotate out several other members of the Paragon team throughout the Reddit AMA. Again, we're tentatively scheduling it for Friday, April 29th. We'll have more information on that coming really soon. I'm looking forward to seeing all the questions from the community for that one, because there's several questions that I think we are pretty sure we'll get that the team is, we've kind of been talking about it on the forums and on Reddit already, but
it's nice to get like a formal conversation.
Yeah. So I'm really looking forward to that and seeing what the community wants to know. All of their deepest, darkest questions about Paragon.
Holding those deep inside, all those questions.
This past week, Mooney, you put up an AFK Leavers blog. You want to talk a little bit about that and kind of talk about our policy for that? Because I know that's been definitely a huge topic for a lot of you guys. Toxicity, player toxicity, which we're working on, code of conduct, all that stuff. And then AFK leavers coming into the game and perhaps ruining the experience. So we take that stuff very seriously, but I'm going to let Mooney talk about it a little bit more.
So we've been getting a lot of posts on feedback in the forums, Reddit, social media in general, regarding AFKers and leavers. And the idea behind the blog post was to clearly define our stance and what we plan to do about it, like what punishments we plan to hand out, and how we're going to crack down on it, because we do see it as a serious problem and we really have a stance on it. So the idea is, if you haven't read the blog post, is that we want to make sure the game is inclusive and accepting to everybody, and that people who are leaving the games realize that they are not only ruining the experience for the people on their team, but also the whole game itself. Because the game as a whole works that, these 30, 45-minute games, like you play these games, you enjoy it, you win, you want to feel satisfied that you won the game and like you actually earned that. Same thing on the other side, your team wants to actually have a winning chance. And 4v5, often, I don't know how much success we've had in 4v5s, but like when it's there, yeah, maybe it's great, but you want to have that full team. Like teamwork is something that's very important in Paragon.
Right.
And that was the goal with the blog, is to make sure people understand that this is a serious offense, and our stance is that we have we'll have 3 levels of offenses, where ranging from a warning that will let you know and say, hey, you've left a lot of games, we're not sure if it's out of your control. If it is, try and rein it in, or reach out, talk to us, tell us, hey, we're having some connection issues. We'll try and figure out the problem with you. If it's something on our end, happy to help you.
Right.
But all in all, the idea is to make sure that we make this type of behavior unacceptable in the community, because we want to make this like Paragon the best community we possibly can. And I think this is the first step in the process.
Right. So there's been a number of questions kind of talking about, well, hey, what if I run into an issue, or
Exactly.
is this something that you think it's like a cutthroat? Like if you do this one time, then we're gonna issue out a warning. Can you kind of talk about the process a little bit more?
Right. So basically, the answer I've kind of been giving with regards to that question is that we'll handle it on a case-by-case basis. So we're going to look at people who are serial leavers and AFKers and look for the reasons why they've been leaving games and try and actually ascertain some sort of idea as to why they left the game,
Right.
or in what capacity, Alt F4, do they disconnect, like what's going on, and why they would do that. And the idea is to make sure that people know that it's not kind of the thing where it's like, oh, but I have these scenarios where I might have to leave a game. The idea should be that when you sit down to play a game of Paragon, you're like committing to that game, like
Right.
you are committing to the 9 other people in that game you're playing with, or you have to understand that this, like, the enjoyment is there for everyone. We want everybody to experience the game in the best way possible, and this is one of the first steps to doing it. The community's had a lot of questions about like the specifics of it, and we're happy to answer. If you have even more specific questions, feel free to like shoot a message to our player support, which a link is included in the blog, or just feel free to post on the forums if you have questions regarding the policy. But the idea is that we will protect against the situations where people have these one-off occurrences and they're terrified they're just going to get permabanned. But that's not the idea of it. We will be looking at like, if we do, the punishments do get doled out, they'll be sent out with qualifications. Like, we'll let you know what the reasoning was behind it, because we want to involve you in the process, because growing a good community is a 2-part process. It's one part you guys, one part us. Like, we together are the Paragon community. It's not just us smacking out the banhammer.
Right.
It's not going to happen like that.
I think the key here is that we want to make sure that players, whatever the issue may come up, things happen, right? This is more based on behavior of consistency, right? If you're a serial leaver, like Mooney said, then it's a situation where we'll have to look into it. We understand we're in early access, bugs will occur, crashes, disconnects, all of those things are applicable. And we understand that. So we're really going to look at this on a case-by-case level. So do not be too fearful, but at the same time, keep in mind that if you leave a game, there's 9 other players in that game that also have a diminished experience because of that. So thank you, Mooney, for talking through that.
And keep an eye out for some another blog we're sending out next week that will give you more of an insight into our stance on toxicity and all that sort of stuff. So keep an eye out. Code of conduct coming out soon. So keep your eyes peeled.
Should be good. So shifting gears a little bit, since we're talking about community, we are about to bring on Marlo here soon within the stream, but we wanted to talk about the replay system. This past weekend, we got to see a live replay. I don't know if either of you two, Herman or Cameron, watched the tournament. Cameron, did both of you guys watch? Okay, so
how could you not?
we saw our very first community tournament held by another Notch who was on our first weekend, Shane Gucher, who both did a great job. We watched the tournament. There was quite a few people from the studio I know that were watching and discussing the tournament, hanging out in the chat. But they were using our live replay tool, so you can spectate games. But some other players have been using just the standard replay tool, removing the HUD, using some cinematic cameras that they've been placing in there, using the drone camera. And we wanted to highlight one of those videos, which is from Berry Sauce HD, who has been putting out some just phenomenal videos. And we wanted to take a look at one of them right now. And this one is featuring Kalari with no HUD on. So very cinematic video here. That is power of the replay.
It's pretty.
It's cool.
It's one of the things, and this is one of the main reasons we have Marlo here. We're going to talk a little bit about replay, but we got to see it with the live viewing experience this past weekend with the first community tournament. We're seeing a lot of fantastic videos just like that from Berry Sauce. being created by you guys in the community, but we're really looking to continue to improve the replay tool, and any feedback that you guys have, please send our way, and we will definitely make sure that we're trying to create an experience where if you're a content creator or you just want to make a really cool highlight video and show it off, that we have tools available to help you guys do that. So awesome stuff, Barry. We're really enjoying your videos here, so continue to submit them to us. And anyone else out there, if you've been creating highlight videos very similar to that, be sure to send them over to us as well. So now we're getting to the build updates. I want to talk about V2.4, which will be out on Thursday with the launch of Iggy. We have one of the biggest changes coming that a lot of people are going to notice are the movement speed changes.
Yes, sir.
So yeah, Cameron, I'm going to run through really high level. You guys will get to see them in the notes, which should be available on Wednesday. But base movement speed has increased 12.5% across the board for all heroes.
Yep.
We removed a strafe penalty. So if you're moving left and right or diagonal, you will no longer notice a movement speed decrease. We've also reduced the in-combat movement speed penalty, which was applied when you did basic attacks.
Yes,
so,
every time you auto attack, you're restricted in your general movement.
Yep. So that will be removed, and then we also increased for every movement card that we have, I believe, in the game. There might be a couple that still need adjusted. We tweaked the values to increase those as well with this big change coming. So cards like Heart Shot, for example, is one that I can think of off the top of my head that I believe it gives you a movement speed increase on kill.
I believe so. I think that's Heart Shot.
So, I mean, there's movement cards like that that will also see a pretty significant bump as well. And again, all those changes will be implemented soon. So can you kind of walk us through, Cameron, the process that you guys went through for making these changes? Because I remember coming in, I think you guys were on your third test for changes, and I was like, oh, this looks good.
Yeah.
From watching it. But can you kind of walk through that process?
So we had identified from the OTs, from a lot of our internal tests, and as well as just the company play tests, some of the initial feedback happened to be that the move speed felt very slow. Just initially, like the travel mode was nice, but when we were actually in combat, a lot of the side-to-side stuff, the reacting to projectiles, and a lot of the stuff that really gives you that immersive gameplay wasn't quite there. So we tried bumping move speed up by over 20% and then not touching the penalties. We tried having no penalties whatsoever and also increasing the move speed. But what we found were the biggest things in actual feeling the gameplay was the slight 12.5% increase and then bringing the strafe penalty to 0. The big thing being when you're moving around in combat, you want to be able to feel like you're unrestricted moving side to side. You have the ability to react to those skill shots because everything in the game is basically a skill shot. There are a couple targeted abilities, but at the end of the day, you see that projectile coming towards you. It didn't really feel good when you're trying to move to one side and you couldn't quite get there. So removing the strafe penalty was a big part of that. And then also when you're in combat, the actual you are firing away your spells, firing away your auto attacks, having that be that much tighter and that much more restricted, kind of lifting those bounds off just felt better generally for the players. And this was kind of the balance point where it wasn't so fast that players were really having to struggle and hit their projectiles. It was a happy in between where the projectile speed matches, but now also in combat, when you're moving side to side and you are attacking, it doesn't feel as if you're quite as slow. And honestly, I think it brings a really fresh kind of pace to the gameplay because we've seen a lot of the feedback on the forums and also on the Reddit how it's people feel that in combat is it just took some getting used to. We feel that's kind of been bumped up a little bit. It's not quite as restrictive. You have a little more freedom to move around the battlefield, but you're still able to stick onto those targets, and it ends up creating some really compelling gameplay.
Okay. Nice. So I'm really looking forward to feedback from the community on this. I think from at least talking with Superville, our creative director, and some of the other designers, it sounds like, if anything, the only place we'll go from here with movement speed is decrease, but we're going to evaluate player feedback on it and look at the data and see if this change is going to be a big impactful experience for you guys. We're definitely looking forward to seeing a lot of feedback on movement after this change. but we don't think we will increase it any higher than what we've gone right now. So that should be fun times in this build. So I'm looking forward to it.
Really feels good.
Yeah. Any bump above that was internal, kind of ended up like with all the projectiles trying to catch people, it ended up skewing it a little bit too far. But we are certainly looking forward to your feedback. Reddit, forums, all over the place. We're listening always. We're reading, paying attention.
So the other big change is that Deck Builder is getting an overhaul. This will be V2.0 of Deck Builder, but the experience will be slightly less, I would say less feature rich than what you guys will maybe get used to, but we're working on it, getting the rest of those features out as soon as possible. So the new Deck Builder will have card linking for the very first time. This is one of those new player experience things that the studio and the Paragon team is really focused on harnessing and making that better. So what you will be able to do in V2.4 on Thursday is if you have a deck and you want to select an equipment card, previously it would show you all of the selections and upgrades for an equipment card, so you could then build an incorrect build. So let's say you chose, I always choose Wind Carver, for example, which has physical damage and attack speed on it. But when you select it in the previous build, it shows you minor cast and all the other options for cards. So you would think, perhaps as a new player coming in, that you could select those cards and then slot it, but you couldn't actually do that. With the card linking system, it only shows you the cards that can be chosen for that, the upgrade cards that can only be chosen for that specific equipment card. And if you're a more experienced user, you have the flexibility of using the card linking system or using what you already know and kind of tinkering around and having that ability to make adjustments on the fly.
Much more streamlined process to get into
Right.
the build you want to try in game.
Yep. So there'll be more details on that coming soon, but again, this is another big feature that we're looking forward to having a lot of your guys' feedback on it, because this is such a big change, and we're hoping it really improves the new player experience. Now, one of the things that won't be readily available in this, but we're coming on it with the very next update, is filtering. So if you've gotten used to the Deck Builder, being able to filter out and search for cards that is not in for V2.4, but we are aware of it, and we will be making adjustments for it as soon as we possibly can. So we just wanted to let everybody know. And then the last big thing, the reason that we have this stream here today, is that Iggy and Scorch will be releasing, and we have the announce video that we want to show you guys right now. There's our man, our boy, Iggy.
Gives me chills every time watching that video. I'm telling you, one of
All
my
right,
favorites.
So Cameron, you spent a lot of time playing with Iggy.
Absolutely.
Can you kind of talk about, and Adam was the designer on this, can you kind of talk about, from a design perspective, when playing Iggy, what the kind of goal was when creating this hero?
Yeah, so the initial goal was trying to create a hero that had kind of like two distinct identities, like two parts to him, but it came together for something that was one coherent unit moving forward together. And it's designing that in the character and then also the theme of it as well. So that comes together with the fire and Iggy and Scorch, one of them actually supplying the burn, the other supplying the part of the oil. And you see, we kind of wanted to combine that and then include the turret style. The turrets are like his main identity, something that gives him a area of control. He's able to not only control and push the lane, but also control a little bit of the sides. And I think they ended up coming together really nicely. I'm super happy with the final product.
So from a strategic aspect, did you have a particular play style that you kind of started gravitating towards whenever you played Iggy? And then how did that kind of work with Adam? I'm sure you were providing a lot of feedback on it. What type of conversations did you guys have where you would apply a specific strategy and then maybe go back to Adam and say, hey, I was using these types of things. This is where he really shines. Can we kind of amp that up?
Yeah, so probably the biggest challenge when it came to designing Iggy and Scorch's kit was trying to find a way to make the turrets have a very distinct identity in his playstyle. For the longest time, he was played kind of similar to some of our other mages, with focusing on the E and that oil trap for like really poke out, and then you would save the turrets for either when you were getting ganked, when you were going back to just try and like push the wave, but you were mainly focusing on the E. And after showing him like a bunch of videos, gameplay of me doing well, gameplay of me doing not so well, we really came around to the fact that the turrets like weren't quite like holding the real identity. So after like a couple iterations on them, we finally got it to a point where now there's this really distinct balance between when you should be placing turrets, when you should be poking your E, and how you end up doing that. Because now the E is triggered by either auto attacking the air above it, having a turret down on top of it, or having some kind of burn in the area. So using the two in concert with each other, working towards a point where there was like a solid tension there, but definitely the turrets are the identity. That's probably the biggest struggle, and it also ended up in a really, really, really good spot. Those turrets, not only do they hurt, but they provide you with a ton of tactical advantage when laning and also when going through the jungle.
Right. So talking about his kit kind of in depth a little bit, and we have some highlight gameplay that we're showing right now. So his Q, which is his turret, he can place up to 4 if he levels them all.
Up to 3.
Up to 3, okay.
Yeah.
And then his E, which is the big oil slick that actually Scorch spits out that oil,
Correct.
right?
Yep.
And if you hit that with any fire, like you were mentioning, that provides a burst of damage, correct?
Yep, a solid burst of damage, and the way that can end up being burst ends up being really cool, because you can throw it down and just leave it there, wait for creeps to walk up on it, then you can either put a turret down on top of it, you can throw an auto attack on top of it, you can pre-auto the ground, because the auto attacks actually leave like a little burn spot there, wait for enemy to walk over, and then drop your E on top. That'll also pop it. Or you can pop it with your ultimate, so if you decide to like walk on top of somebody all in them, you can drop an E right down on top of their face as well. You'll get a huge burst of damage.
So like complete cohesion with the kit.
Yep.
Just all working together.
And then his right mouse is a slight speed boost.
Yep.
Or his
That's R1. Yep.
On PlayStation. Slight speed burst, and then he provides another oil slick.
Yeah, another oil slick which you can ignite. So then it ends up basically being you have all these turrets around you, and if somebody comes in to either gank you, somebody comes in to aggress on you, you can pop that R&B, start running backwards. So they chase through it. You're moving a little bit faster. Toss an auto attack down at your feet. Now all of a sudden that little trail is on fire and they're ticking for even more. And now they have to decide, hey, am I really going to be able to kill this person through their turrets and through this oil slick, and he's moving down faster away from me? Okay. And now all of a sudden maybe they don't have as much offense to be able to kill you.
So for you, do you feel like you would rather play Iggy in one of the side lanes to avoid the gank, or do you go mid with them, place turrets? How have you kind of played him on Agora?
He's fairly effective in mid, but I absolutely love playing him in the off lane. I think he is probably one of the better suited lane pushers. He has all that in his kit. In between his turrets and the oil trap gives him a ton of pressure to poke in lane. And as soon as you have 2 turrets up, and people are probably going to be a little wary of this, but you basically become ungankable from the jungle, or rather than ungankable, really, really difficult to gank, because you can put 1 turret down just like by the shadow pad in the little connection area, and then you keep 1 up in lane, and then you're just, as long as you play like slightly off the sides of either of those, if somebody comes around and ganks, boom, they'll get hit out of travel mode, they'll get rooted. Or they have to drop their travel mode, all of a sudden you hear the turret ticking, you're able to run back. Now the only way you're really vulnerable to a gank is if somebody who like has a vertical jump comes all the way around and then jumps up behind you. But then you still have a bunch of tools to like get away or at least make them pay for it. So I'm a really big fan of playing him in the side lane and then pushing, and kind of trying to bait those 1v2s.
Right.
It's probably the only hero where you ever hear me say, like, I want to get ganked. Like, I love when people come and try and gank me and I'm playing it.
You really like playing with that lane control.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. So has there been a bit of like no camp can't play Iggy in the comp room because of your particular playstyle against him?
People certainly get frustrated.
I hadn't recalled. I didn't know people get frustrated playing against Iggy and Cam Ziggy.
Yeah, it gets to a point where I'm kind of able to take over like a section or half of the map, and I will just sit there for the entirety of the game. It doesn't matter. Like I can be there for the first 10 minutes, make sure my jungler can focus on the other side. They say, hey, don't come over. Like I'm totally good. I'll be fine. Even if they gank me, like I'll be fine. Just go make them pay somewhere else. And then if it gets to a point where I just need to hold the lane, like I'm able to put turrets down to my flanks, make sure people can't come up. And between that and then buying like a couple of shadow wards, like you're able to be not only safe when pushing forward, but incredibly effective. And there have been a couple times, like finally, yeah, the team comes and they bring 3 to 4 people because I'm pushed like all the way up, but I'm able to take 1 or 2 with me, and then we're able to pressure on the map. So I think the identity of a lane pusher with him, with somebody who's able to not only control but also put out these like very quick bursts of damage. The only trade-off being like you are incredibly vulnerable. You don't have a hard dash. You don't have something to like really get you away from somebody else, with the exception of that RMB, and then trying to use the ult on your the knockback. The knockback on your ultimate.
Right. And so during the ult, Iggy provides a Molotov to Scorch. Scorch then spits out flames, and then at the very end of the ability, he belches, and then it knocks him away. So it's quite a bit of humor, I think, in Iggy, more so than I think we've seen with other heroes so far, trying to show some of the personality with a lot of the heroes coming into the game. One of the things, and this is probably my last question for you, that I really want to hear from you is how you feel like Iggy synergizes with other heroes in the game so far.
I think he synergizes incredibly well, either from a siege or anti-siege standpoint. He's very well able to hold turrets, and my favorite combination is Decker and Iggy. And people might kind of look at that and be like, "Oh, that's like, I wouldn't understand why that's really good." But there's no better feeling than when you get walled in to a Decker ultimate with 2 of the enemy shooters, and you're just able to drop down everything, and they can't run away from you. When you're stuck in that area, and Iggy is just able to drop down the turrets, pop his ultimate, and you have to sit there and eat the damage. Exactly, they're literally in the fire pit, barbecuing them, like, and it feels like, I tell people all the time, I'm like, just put me in the Thunderdome, let's go. And they just run in, drop everything, and like, yeah, maybe I die, maybe they focus me out, but I guarantee you those 2 shooters aren't getting out alive.
Yeah.
All right. So kind of switching gears a little bit, we have Herman on, one of our concept artists here at Epic. He's going to talk a little bit about how the concept art was, and initial concepts were kind of inspired, if at all, kind of pointing the direction for how the hero ended up ultimately coming out. So Herman, if you can kind of walk us through, and then we actually have some very early concept art of Iggy that we're going to show. If you can kind of walk us through how you got, from a design perspective, when you first heard about the kit, what kind of ideas you kind of spawned in your head about, hey, this is the approach that I want to kind of take with him. Can you kind of walk us through that iteration a little bit?
Yeah, sure, definitely. Working in Epic's great thing is we have a pretty organic process to making characters. So the first time I got a kit is from Adam, and we actually want to make a dwarf, which is quite short, mechanic, and kind of aggressive, but kind of crazy, drunk, and fat. So it's very different from the Iggy we have right now. But you can see the early thumbnails. We try to create a character relatively like a mechanics. He's by himself. And by some chances, I draw some character which is have a pet and riding a robot. And the idea is a little bit similar to Howweiser, but after some discussion in the art team and with the designers, and we figure we like Iggy actually have the pet or a companion. The pet is not just like a funny, useless pet, but actually like his partner. So we like that kind of idea. And after some iteration, you guys can see that's the early version. So he's pretty much by himself. And a lot of people from the art team actually like the right-hand side, that guy riding a bicycle, right? It's showing how funny this character is. But we want the bicycle not just like a machine, but actually something interact with the character. So after that, we start some ideas about how to create a pet which is fun, but also not just a machine, not just like a senseless machine with him, but actually really a pet, but actually have a functionality work with him.
And so once you guys got to the pet phase, and can we show the? Well, I think this is the turrets.
Yeah.
So we'll talk a little bit about the turrets. Cameron mentioned that the turrets were like a pivotal part of the hero. Can you kind of talk about like maybe however many iterations he went through on the turret? I know in some of the notes it's like this is how he places it from his right side. This is how it looks from his left side. What type of process there was it like for just creating the turret by itself?
The turret itself, because the original idea of making him is making him like a mechanics. He worked with different gadget. He worked in a low level garage and try to pick up all the machinery he pick up from the battlefield or whatever.
Right.
The living environment is pretty bad for him.
Right.
So he tried to find anything he can find to make some weapon for himself.
Okay.
That's why we start thinking the turret would be the best weapon, because obviously it's a low level, but can be very damage, create a lot of damage. Not like a pistol, a gun, that kind of like a specific, like really cool kind of weapon, but we want to make him have a very low level weapon, but have a damage with it. So that's why we gradually work a lot of like iteration, how to make the turret works. And at the first, we put the turret on his back, on his sides. Like this one is actually on his back. The turret popping out, we grab the turret and throw it out. And eventually we figure with animation teams like which way is better. So eventually we put the turret on the side. So makes sense. He grabbed the turret from the generator and throw it out. And the turret will become like a fighting machine on the ground.
Okay.
So yeah,
That's cool.
So yeah, that's early version of him. The idea is pretty much confirmed. It's like he riding with a dinosaur, like a creatures, and the original idea is that they are friends. When they grow up together, they find each other's. He's pretty much like orphan, dumb in the garage land. He has nothing, and the creatures grow up like orphan too. So they gradually play together when they grow up and start become companion with each other's, talk each other. Obviously, they can't understand each other.
Right.
That kind of relationship really make the character have more kind of feeling to each other.
Right.
They kind of become friends and they're depending on each other. That's why they come up with a system like that. And that's after Perna come in, Perna really suggesting he want the character to become cuter, like more cuteness, not just like a goofy fat creatures. So we change the direction a little bit, try to make the dinosaur more significant, and the character have more energy, more not just a really fat, ugly creature, but have the bright side, personality on him. So you can see that's early iteration on Ziggy. You can see the characters changing, the dinosaur is gradually changing. So yeah, we try to find out different looks of Ziggy. At first, we want to just make him like a dwarf and like a goblin, but we want to try to find out a specific look for him to make him have that kind of personality, not just a normal dwarf.
One of the things that I noticed in all the concepts, like the idea that he drinks the Molotov, like that stayed through from very early on, very consistent. So that's really cool to see, at least.
Yeah, that's early ideas of everybody want him drinking something. It's always cool to show the personality of some guy drinking. Right. So we gradually come up with ideas to relate to the dinosaur in him. So the alcohol or the oil he's drinking is actually produced by the dinosaur.
Oh, okay.
And he's producing damage to protect the dinosaur on the other hand. So it's like make them relationship.
Back and forth.
Yes, back and forth kind of relationship. Yeah.
Really cool. Awesome.
So that's that's pretty much final. After a lot of iteration, we gradually finalize. You can see all those thumbnails. Now, Scorch become more significant, bigger, stronger, and
Iggy's size.
Iggy's become a little bit smaller. Let's shrink a little bit to show show one guy is relatively intelligent, one guy is strong, protective.
Yeah. So based on Perna's feedback when he said kind of make him a little bit cuter.
Yeah.
Does size play a significant importance in like the cuteness, I would say, from a design or from an artistic standpoint when you're making characters? for sure.
Yeah, definitely, yeah. So we can see his size is shrinking, and we clean up his face too, just reduce all the
Always
fat.
like the goggles. The
Yeah,
goggles
yeah,
are
put the
so-
goggles,
such a
and,
good
yeah,
idea.
which is making him cute.
Yeah.
Watching the different iterations of the goggles going from like glasses to like kind of like wide rim to like thick one and then down to like the actual goggles. That's probably the coolest part for me, at least. Like I didn't think of like how one little detail can really define him so much, but like just looks.
So yeah, that's the pretty much the final thumbnails of him. We still need to talk. We talk about animation rigging. After that, it's pretty much final. The design is nailed down, and we're all happy about the big giant face of Scorch and the cute looking, but also a little bit aggressive look of Iggy, and obviously drinking alcohol. Yeah, that's the final design model sheet. You can see the top one is final line works, how the things function, and then how the turret is put on the ground, generated into a killing machine. And that's side view of the design. And I also including how the turret is generated from its original form to a standardized form.
It's cool because there's like subtleties in the turret, like it has its own fuel source at the top, like
Yep.
you see the oil,
Yep.
and then it kind of just deploys on its own. Like it really shows that how intelligent Iggy is, and then
Yeah.
Scorch is like assisting in that process, like kind of being that big protector you were talking about.
And all the energy is actually from Scorch, because all the oil is produced by Scorch, and you can see the dark part on his body is dripping out oil.
Oil, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's pretty sweet. Then we have the basically final concept, very
Yeah.
close to it.
Pretty close to it. We still play around the colors and try to nail the colors. Make sure the color is not too cartoony. Try to make it close to the environment we have. It's still a lot of work in progress. Chris Perner gave us so many great feedback to bring the character to what we have now closer. So yeah, we still play around a lot of color variation, and you can tell changing the functionality a little bit of him too. And that's the final concept. Pretty much we stick with it and go along past to modeler. And the thing is, we have budget on every characters,
Right.
and we have the texture map budget, the rigging have budget,
Right.
how many bones we have budgets, everything, right? And the weird thing about him is he has a lot of stuff. He has 2 characters basically, and also have the turret.
Yep.
And he has so many fire, and then even the light bulb from on his back, and then it's dripping oil and all kind of thing. So he make it our team have really tough time to pull it off, and a lot of people working so hard to make it work. So
Well, you guys did a
the
great job.
job.
Unfortunately, we couldn't have Tim Mellick on, who's going to talk about the effects. Scott Kennedy is actually the effects artist that worked on Iggy. The flames for Iggy just look so
They
good.
look so
So shout out to them, everyone on our team that worked on Iggy. Thank you so much, guys,
Yeah,
for coming
great
up.
job.
Round of
We're
applause.
going to bring up Marlo Ethos next to kind of talk us through replay. But again, thank you guys for
Thank you
coming
so
up and
much.
talking
Yes,
about
thank
it.
you.
It's awesome.
Appreciate it.
All right.
thank you.
Hey, hey, what's up? What's up?
Hey.
Hey, what's up? How's everybody doing? Hi.
There he is.
Yeah, that's me in the flesh.
Uh,
Are we good? Yeah.
Yeah.
all right. So, what's up, man?
So,
You had a much better flight this time.
yeah,
you told
much
me.
better compared to everybody else apparently.
Yeah.
Yeah. Had a little kid not hitting, the back of my chair a little bit, but he calmed
always
down.
good.
So.
So we have Marlo, also goes by Ethos, on the stage with us here to kind of talk through a little bit of Iggy. You got to play a little bit of Iggy before we went on stream, but we showed off a replay from Berry Sauce, And some of the replays that you've put together have been phenomenal. In addition to coming out here for our community event back in January, we wanted to kind of pick your brain a little bit, talk to you, get some questions from you, because I'm sure you have quite a bit to ask, in addition to you being an indie developer. So a lot of talent in this man. So we're very, very fortunate to have him in the community. We wanted to bring you out. But before we get started, I wanted to show off your Kalari video because of the epic chase scene that you have in the beginning of this. It's just phenomenal. So we're going to show that first. You call your hero highlight project. So we're going to watch it, and then I'm going to let you kind of talk through it a little bit about your process afterwards. So,
Yeah, there it is.
one of my favorite videos I've seen so far, and again, that chase scene is so epic.
Yeah.
That dagger. I love the part where you throw the dagger at the twin blast
Yeah.
and just we
Show
see
it.
the dagger like bounce down the stairs.
Grux didn't like that, but it was I thought it was pretty cool.
Oh, that was a great part.
So, what type of process do you kind of go through when you are making your highlight videos? Just kind of from start to finish. Can you kind of walk us through what your general process is when you're doing that?
Well, first I pick the hero. Actually, before I came here, I was working on Murdoch a little bit, but I'll use Murdoch as an example, so I'm using him. So I first look at who the character is that I'm going to be highlighting, and basically I try to get the idea the basically they were talking about Iggy and Scorch, like the theme of like he's comedic, he's a funny type of guy. So I look at Murdoch and I imagine this gruff, military type, like just straight, like soldier type of person, gets the job done, kills everybody, end of story. So like when I go into that process, I have to first understand who the character is, and then once I understand who they are, then I find music to match before I even go in and get like clips or something like that. Because angle work is great, but if you are doing it before you get the actual music, you can't really envision how it kind of limits the music you can use. So I dedicate a lot of time, more time than I should, like finding songs that I feel that match with the character, and there's not a dissonance between the two. And once I feel like, yeah, this is like, I think of it like if a character had an iPod, what song would they have on there? And I'm like,
That
that
is an
sounds,
awesome way to go
yeah,
about it.
that's what I feel like they would be listening to while killing people in a way. So that's what I did with Kalari. It was like thumping, a constant escalation, and then the idea of like the heartbeat, like, oh gosh, she's coming for me. So I pick the song, and then after that, then I actually go and hopefully I do good. So hopefully I'm not trash, but if I can get the good clips, then I go into the replay editor, and then that's when I start mixing angles. I start thinking of a theme that I try to play through the video. With Kalari, it was like the chase, for if you will. Like when I did that in game, I was like, that's gonna be a clip. Like I will make sure I make that a clip, because it was like moments where it's like the adrenaline's rushing and you feel like you're going for the kill and you can savor that kill. That's what I essentially pulled off with the Kalari video and so forth. And that's what I try to emulate in like these, is like to give that same emotion I had doing the actual act. If the viewer can feel that, then that's a win in my book. And if they can't, then I usually scrap and I retry to fix it until I feel like it's right. That's pretty much it.
Extensive process.
It's
I really like.
Extensive process.
Speaking about that heartbeat,
Yeah.
there was that one shot where I think you had like ulted the minion wave and you were under tower with steel and your steel, and you were kind of switching the camera angles as everybody was coming in, and that kind of made me think, like, even without the audio, like I kind of felt like my own like heart beating, like, because you're in the thick of it, like in the middle of a fight, you gotta focus, like pay attention to what's going on, and like the camera angles are kind of like switching at like a heartbeat sort of rate for me. So I kind of like got that feeling, like you did elicit that emotion for me, because I was like kind of nervous. I was like, oh, is he gonna get out? Is everything gonna be okay?
Like
I don't know.
Like in that, like that's my favorite cut of the entire video was the steel cued me, and I was like, oh no, I'm gonna die, because Decker locked me. I saw Kalari, like I was trying to kill the other Kalari. That was the whole thing, was like me trying to kill the other Kalari, and she escaped. She jumped out because of the Decker thing, and I was like, oh god. So when you knocked me up in the air, luckily my backflip was on off the cooldown, so then I flipped up in the air. And then, like, I don't know how it happened. I just looked and I saw Kalari in slow motion. I was like, oh, you're dead. And I just ulted and just midair, and I was like,
all the stars aligned.
You're mad.
Yes.
All right, yeah, that's pretty sweet. So, just quick questions from you for replay, since you've spent quite a bit of time in it. What, for you, would you feel like is the biggest thing that you're looking for in the replay system right now?
So, like, new features.
New features?
Yeah. So, one of the, I think, more ability to rig the hero chase cam. Like right now, it's like it's a certain distance away, but you can move it left and right a little bit. Like one thing I appreciate about Paragon is the attention to detail when it comes to the graphics and the particle effects and all the crazy effects. I feel like they're very underappreciated compared to, like, I've seen a lot of games, but like you can zoom in, like that's what I was able to try to do on a lot of shots, was zoom in as close as I could, and like seeing still the detail and the textures remaining still like high quality, and they weren't degrading. Like it was insane. Like I think in one shot, like I took a shot of Rampage and Kalari like really close to their eye, and it was like there was no, like, I barely saw any pixelation. Like it still looked high quality, and I was like, yes. I think like one of those ideas is like rigging that, because I've had some issues trying to like rig a camera to follow with the character running, like in close up, and it's very hard because unless you're in slow mo, I've had to force slow mo in order for me to, because I have to manually pan the camera with it. Yeah. So like having like an auto lock, like a rigid where it can lock onto a character, like the hero. So
like a spline, and then
right, yeah, like you'd see, and you can dash that way without heroes moving a certain way, something like that. I think like that's probably the biggest up that I like to see.
Okay.
I think the other thing outside of that, I think just people in general would like a highlight thing, that it would automatically go through the gameplay and pull your kills, or your best kills, if you will, and can auto generate a highlight reel, and then people can share that to their Twitter, or share that to their YouTube. Something like that.
All right, nice. Those are some nice suggestions. I like those. I think that we can make some of those things happen. Perhaps.
They sound good.
Perhaps. So just asking some general questions about the game. I know, and this is from, some of these questions are from the blog post that we posted, but I just want you to kind of talk through them yourself. But I know you're a big fan of Grux and Sevarog. You made a Sevarog hero highlight video as well, which was pretty sweet, using his Challenger skin, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. What made you kind of gravitate towards those heroes when you picked them?
Really, I was just looking for intimidation. That was the biggest thing. Like Kalari has it, but I feel like Grux and like when Sevarog came out, like you could feel it. Like people like you just see him and people didn't know how he played.
Right.
So like just seeing him appear out of nowhere is horrifying.
And like intimidating.
Yeah, it's pure intimidating. Like you just feel like, oh my gosh, like you feel like if you run into him in the jungle solo, you're gonna die. Like you don't even want to fight.
So you
like,
just see my life is over now.
yeah, like you just stand there. Like I ran into when I was running Severov like the day he was out. I just constantly like that was the theme I was going for when I did the video, and also when I was playing him was like my idea was like you'll never see me in a team fight. When the team fight breaks out, you're not gonna see me, but I will show up behind your enemy team, smack you guys towards them, and then I'll scare and I'll attack your AD carry and just keep going after them until I kill them. Like that's what I constantly did. I did it to Mariel, I did it to Twin Blast, I did it to try to do it to Murdoch, but like I said, the idea is like Grux has that same idea. I just love his kit in general. I feel like it's just a savage kit that you just go at somebody and they're going to you are going to kill them. There is no you will escape. I will kill you. Like he has the Liam Nielsen type of feeling. Like if you play Grux.
Yeah, the Grux phone call.
Yeah, like I will kill you. Twin Blast. And other than that, like I said, like if I want to have fun, I play Severov, I play Grux. But if I want to win, I have to play Murdoch, which my friends hate me for doing, but it's like I have to play him to do like carry because thanks you guys nerfing Grux. Like I can't carry as like I used to. So and Severov, we've already talked.
Just calling out your friends on stream like that. Like I have to carry.
I
you
have
guys.
to carry them. Ever since, man.
I'm the best one.
I am the best. Now, one would argue with me with that, but yeah. Still great.
So I think we've asked this a couple times. I'm curious what your perfect hero would be. We kind of talked about this a little last night.
Yeah, we talked about what I want to be a little difficult to create, but I just want to see like more, like I said, verticality type of heroes, more that actually like because the terrain is like that. There's definitely verticality in the terrain, which I love. But I'd love to see, flying hero, but then people were like, oh, you rig it up like, oh, everybody wants to be a flying hero then. But, swooping down and attacking people from above. I wanted maybe a cool, like, ground that could actually burrow underground and, like, maybe make tunnel systems that actually your teammates could go through and maybe do stuff like that. I think those are the two type of heroes that I want to do, but, like, to be honest, like, well, Fang Mao's kind of that, but, like, I've always been a fan of the heroes that dunk. Like that's just a way of life for me. Like I'm that type of player that just like the ultimate humiliation is just like slamming down on somebody.
Oh yeah, unnecessarily stealing somebody that's already dead.
Yeah,
you just like you're like you can probably kill him with the LMBs, but I'm just gonna ult him.
Twin Blast, I know you probably can get this kill, but I'm just gonna ult him to secure the kill. We call it kill confirmed.
Yeah, of course.
But yeah,
okay.
It's cool.
All right. Yeah, we had a nice discussion about the Superman style flying around all last night. That was interesting. I just want to hear. I want to see the community reaction to something like that for verticality use on our heroes. Obviously, we have a lot in development, but definitely interested in hearing feedback on that some more. How's your early access experience been so far?
Better than what you can get in most of their games. Like the game works. The game is greatly optimized. Like I remember in the beginning there was like some of my friends were having optimization issues and then they just cleared. Like once like Tuesday and the game was like early access, like they were like this is like God at optimization. I was like, well yeah, it's their engine. They should know how to optimize it. So
better. Still got a ways to go,
but it's like it's great. Like just the game runs great. The community for the most part great. I've had a blast, and I love like it's not even pay to win. I think that's the biggest thing that a lot of people are worried about with a lot of free to play games, and they feel like early access is like, oh, but if I pay money to get in early, that gives that's not fair or something like that, or what do they get with that? And it's like, no, you guys are getting skins, like little boosts, but at the end of the day, it comes down to skill. It doesn't come down to oh, you paid for the $100 master skin. Oh, you can walk around with this good-looking skin, but that doesn't mean I can just still kill you.
Right.
So,
I remember. I feel like that was a big concern of yours before we gave a lot of details on stuff back during our community event. I feel like you were one of the people that was like, "Hey, how's this going to work?" Right, monetization. So we definitely took a lot of feedback from that specific event and from everyone that came out about what they felt like was going to be fair, and then we tried to stress, I think from the very beginning, that we were trying to be as fair as possible when it came to how we monetize the game. So it's good to hear. Good to hear.
My thumbs up, my approval.
So asking about a little bit about your YouTube gameplays and how long you've been on YouTube and what you're about there. When did you get started on YouTube?
long time ago. Like, I'm pretty sure I had a channel before it's gone now. I buried that a long time ago. But when I started my, it was called, like, it was originally called Gaming Ethos, and then I just, simplified it, called just Ethos this last year. But started doing it about 2011. That's when I really started doing gaming stuff.
Right.
Around there, and then just started to build. I met a great group of, pretty much you find your little groups. Luckily, I found a great group of friends. Game Illuminati. Shout out to y'all. So they're a great group of guys. We went to E3 last year. We actually met each other in person for the first time, and it was funny because some people were like, you meet people online, and it's like, when you meet them in real life, it feels like it's gonna be awkward. It's like we just acted as if we saw each other last week. Like, it wasn't like
You just say the same stuff.
yeah, it was just like same thing. It was like I knew this dude for and we've been chilling, just making videos and collaborating, and just doing all just amazing stuff, and just pushing gaming culture forward and stuff like that. So it's been great. So
Awesome.
yeah, just been doing that on YouTube, just enjoying life and making videos. So
That's good.
Great.
That's good. Mooney, did you put on this first video game?
Yeah. I wanted to
You wanted to know
I
the
wanted to
first
go back
video
into the
game.
past.
God.
Let's go back in time.
That's so long ago.
Because I think it's kind of telling. Well, not just of what you were into back then, but
Right.
also kind of coming along along the way. I was into this sort of game, but then I completely
Changed.
swapped to this.
I'm pretty sure there's probably was a game before, but I'd say the first game I owned
Yeah.
and could play was, I remember I got it when I was really young, and I got from my mom Pokemon Blue on the Pokemon Color, or
It's
Game
like
Boy
a
Color.
classic.
The classic, yeah. I was the Blue. I've always been a Blastoise fan, Pokemon Blue, all the kids hated me because they all had Charizard, so I just destroyed everybody.
Well, yeah, I
But
mean, of course, you just beat them because Blastoise clearly superior.
clearly is superior.
Clearly.
It's been proven that Blastoise is superior. But yeah, that was my first video game that I ever played. Pokemon. That was RPG, turn-based RPG.
Yeah.
So I've always had a love for RPGs. That's always been my main thing. Around 2010-ish, then I got into MOBAs. Can't say it was one of the best decisions of my life, but played certain MOBAs, and the community just immediately caused me to retire early from them. And then Paragon was one of those all right, I was about maybe a year, maybe two, just break. I was just I'm done with MOBAs. I can't stand them anymore. And then Paragon was okay, this is a brand new MOBA. I see potential in it. It looks great. I was okay. I signed up for the beta and I got into the OT and I was playing, and I was at first I was I don't know. And then the third and fourth came out, and I was oh, I like this. It's starting to feel good. When you guys started messing with movement stuff,
speed.
Right.
that's when I think that's when a lot of people said I'm starting to feel it. I'm really getting into it. But it's great.
Kind of in the same line. What was the first? If you can remember the first game you made YouTube content for?
The first game. I think the first on my Gaming Ethos one, the first video I ever made was a Battlefield 3 commentary.
Oh.
Way back, yeah, I really
Nice.
liked Battlefield 3. Kind of died off now, but that was one of the games that I like. I was in high school. The whole shooter craze was going on. Call of Duty, Battlefield.
Oh, yeah.
all the crazy
No, I
stuff.
feel you.
Stuff like that. And then I started transitioning back to older games. Arena shooters like Unreal. So I wanted to play Unreal again. I'm glad to see it's starting to resurge now. We're starting to see more and more of that. So
Shout out to UT team.
yeah, definitely go check out their game.
Yes.
Definitely a lot of potential. I really like the development they're going with. So yeah.
Okay. All right. Now, this is a question I was curious about, and I knew this before. I think talking with you, you'd let me know.
I didn't actually know about this. I was super surprised.
Yeah. So Marlo is also an indie developer,
Yeah.
and I believe you told me that you just recently switched over. You guys decided to switch over.
Coincidentally,
to Engine,
to Unreal.
UE.
Yeah.
So they're now an Unreal Engine indie developer. Can you talk to us a little bit about the project you guys are working on?
Yeah, so I've been working, actually, it's been a long time. I'd say we've actually started to actually produce the actual game about late 2015.
Okay.
But for the past 2 years, I've been working on a game called Leap. And it's a 2D game, but it was a first commercial. I worked on some side hobby projects, some fan games way back in the day in my high school. And then around 2014, I was kind of Like, it was out of frustration. I was angry at the gaming industry, really angry, because all the games I was like, oh, they're all crap. I can't stand them.
Yeah.
I'm gonna, when it's like, I'm gonna make one that's 5 times better than this. So I was like, screw it. So then I started, really like researching game design. Like I spent hours just in college, just like going to the library, researching it, like learning how game design works and stuff like that. And then I just did it. I went and I found other individuals like myself who just like, they were like people who were, either they had some experience in indie or they had none, but they had the passion and they wanted to try it out and they wanted to give it a shot. And I was like, I want to make something cool. You want to make
this,
yeah. So I was like, let's do it. So, that was the idea that we started to make Leap, and Leap's like a 2D side-scrolling action platformer game. It's a multiplayer game. And it's basically, it's hard to describe it, but it's essentially take the samurai era, so it's a sword-based combat game, but take the samurai era, but throw it in a sci-fi cyberpunk universe setting. Set it there with like hip-hop vibes and electronic vibes and beats and so forth. So we've been pushing that. It's currently since we moved to Unreal, we started developing pretty much using the blueprint system. We're starting to, we've gone past prototyping, but that was on the previous engine, but we started to actually make the full game now. And the blueprint system has been a godsave because it helps us prototyping really fast. And
small Samurai Jack influence. That's what I immediately thought when you said that.
Yes, like Samurai Jack. Big influences were like Samurai Jack, Mirror's Edge. Those were like the 2 biggest ones. We also, I actually spent a lot of time watching a lot of anime while making it, and like Samurai Champloo was like one of my biggest inspirations when I was developing, because like I was trying to figure out the soundtrack and stuff like that, and I was listening back to Samurai Champloo. I was like, oh, this is like amazing, unique, and I was like, I wish more games would like adapt this type of soundtrack. So then I was like, let's try it, let's see how it works with Leap. And then we started fidgeting with it. I found some artists who had that type of feel and vibe and stuff, and I was like, hey, you guys want to make a video game? It's like, yes. So it's just been working great. So
that sounds awesome, man.
Good to hear.
It's great.
That's awesome. Yeah. Well, I'm looking forward to seeing the progress on it.
Yeah.
You gotta keep us,
Twitter
everybody.
I will.
Loop.
Yeah, we have a Twitter. It's ICS Studios, but that's where we keep most of the updating. But yeah, I can't wait to actually have the final product done and just share it, especially with you. I'd love to see.
Cool, yeah.
And I'm glad I'm here because I get to ask a lot of questions like the engine. That's probably my biggest thing. But,
all right, so. Before we sign off, we're going to talk a little bit about Pax East. But Marlon, did you have any questions for us?
I don't really have a lot of questions. Well, they'll kill me if I don't bring this up. So right now, probably the biggest thing, I'm sure you guys already did a little post about it, was the current tactic of deathballing.
Deathball.
They had the deathball tactic. My friends, they come in, they range around. We have like somebody who's in bronze, but a lot of us were right now high silver tier, bumping towards gold right now. And right now, like we dealt last week, we were playing grouping, and you guys already said you're messing with matchmaking a little bit, but like using Agora, we already talked. It's not precise. It's not even 100% accurate to what you guys have your system of MMR. But like, the system said we were teamed up against platinums and diamonds, and we were like 2 golds, and then they manipulated the system by having a bronze on their team, which lowered their stats to make the matchmaking link us together.
Okay.
So I guess the biggest question is like, are you guys going to be working more on match, like, maybe making it, because obviously there's no rank, but when rank comes up, are you going to set regulations where it's like, hey, a gold can't play with a bronze to like offset the elo get lower tier players? Or it seems that deathball tactics are used by the higher tiers, like they're realizing it's an effective tactic, but like the lower tier people, they aren't doing it because they don't know about it, or they're just trying to play like a regular MOBA. So like, is there a way? A lot of people are talking about the way experience is dealt out. Maybe they should be punished by all being in one lane. They get lower, they level up lower, they get a smaller amount of card XP since they're all in one area. So are you guys like working towards that? Is that, I don't know if it's in the upcoming patch of fixing that, or are you guys still just seeing how the community figures it out? Maybe it's just a tactic, like a mindset thing the community needs to go over or change, or?
So there's a couple different things that I think we're investigating right now. The first one is shared XP.
Right.
So specifically card power. So we're taking a look at that. We're also looking at travel mode. In the blog posts, we mentioned travel mode leading to engagements, right? So people use travel mode as an engage tactic. So we're investigating ways we can improve travel mode so that it's used as a traversal mechanic versus an engagement mechanic. We're also looking at trying to improve the matchmaking experience. You mentioned matchmaking as well. Ranked and competitive play in terms of like, having a divisions or whatnot is definitely something I think we're thinking about. I don't have a timeline or even can really talk to what type of system we're going to ultimately use, but I know it's something that we have confirmed in the past. Like, yeah, we're going to do ranked, but in terms of having the fine details about how it will exactly work, not quite there yet. So we're definitely looking at a lot of community feedback on it. We definitely want to define what we think the player experience is for the game, and then have that kind of echo through the community with their sentiment, because obviously the main concern around the tactic of roaming around and ganking players is that it mostly works because of being in a situation where you're probably in a cohesive team, 4-man or pre-made, and you're playing against. You could be playing against a newer group, but you could be playing against a group that's not pre-made. So, we're factoring in a lot of those things and looking at the best ways that we can make improvements across the board for sure. So, yes.
Yeah. So it is.
We're looking at it.
It's being worked on. Yeah. Don't slaughter me now.
we are investigating the best ways we can deal with that for sure. So, do you have any questions, Mooney?
Nothing I can think of.
Ready to jump into PAX?
Yeah, man.
You ready to talk about
Let's talk about it. Yeah.
What day do you leave?
Wednesday morning.
Wednesday morning. All right. So, PAX East.
Yeah.
Is starts on Thursday.
I think it's Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Friday, Saturday,
Thursday's
Sunday.
like setup and stuff.
Setup. Okay. So we will be heading out to PAX East. Mooney will be there. So I'm gonna let him talk all about PAX East and what you got going on.
Yeah, so PAX should be super fun. We're going to be at the PlayStation booth. It's 8044 is the booth number, I think.
Okay.
We're going to post a blog post with all the information on what we're going to be there doing, what the stuff we have planned. I'm going to be organizing a meetup. You're going to be able to hang out with me and Steve Superville, our creative director. I'm going to be hosting we're going to be hosting just a nice meetup outside the convention center. We're all going to be hanging out, talking about the game, just meeting each other. I think it's really important to kind of get some perspective on the community and get FaceTime, because getting feedback from the community in person, it's like to have Ethos out, have these discussions with these content creators from the community and just get feedback is super important. And we're also going to have some swag. Come head out, have fun with us.
The swag.
The swag. I have some really good. I crafted some awesome trivia questions that I'm very proud of.
Trivia questions.
Yeah, I'm very proud of them.
Are they about lore?
No.
Okay, good.
Those are all things.
Good, because we don't have lore yet.
You should do your homework. But I think they're very good. I'm
define very good.
I mean, they're quality questions. I wrote very quality crafted questions.
Who's Mooney's best champion?
Yeah. Oh, they're all questions about me. Of course, I have to grow the end goal of this really is to just make sure my ego is as big as possible when I come home.
Hey.
So that's. But yeah, I mean, we'll have more info on the blog post tomorrow. Keep an eye out. Come hang out with us on Saturday. Come stop by the booth anytime. We're gonna be playing Paragon. All 3 days. It's gonna be a lot of fun. So head out, hit us up.
Are you gonna be coaching people?
I mean, of
course. We're gonna see Mooney's coaching skills.
Yeah, my coaching skills.
Now, mind you,
coaching skills.
Mooney had to eat some humble pie most recently.
I feel like I always have to eat humble pie.
There's no growing your hair back out, right?
It's a work in progress.
Yeah. So I mean, are we gonna are you gonna grow it back out to the same length? Or are you gonna keep this look since you've been defeated?
Well, no, I'm gonna grow it back because I need to regain my power, and my power, as everybody knows, comes from my hair. So once I grow my hair out, maybe we'll do more incentives. If something happens, I coach a team and I lose, I'll dye my hair or something. We'll do other incentives. We can just build a program around this, just to make sure that my ego's as big as possible and center of attention. Of course, naturally.
Okay.
But yeah, it should be exciting. If you're at PAX, hit us up. If you don't, be disappointed.
Yes. Please be there.
Please be there.
Please be there.
Yeah, come hang out with us. It's honestly going to be a blast.
So that's pretty much it. Hope you guys enjoyed the stream. We want to wrap up with a couple different things. We'll answer a couple questions in chat very quickly, but I want to drop Ethos's YouTube channel in the chat. You guys can head over there and go subscribe to his channel.
Make videos.
Oh, is that what?
Yeah,
Is that what YouTube is?
Apparently.
There we go. I
We make
just threw
videos.
that in the chat.
Just like that.
We have to pop this out so I can actually. What is it?
I like all the Illuminati's in chat.
Yeah, they probably are there. What's up, guys? Mama made it.
That's yeah.
Could put this on my bucket list.
Hi, Mom.
Hey, Mom.
That's
I'm on the epic.
yeah. You gotta. That's what you
legend.
always gotta do.
Yeah.
What does solo queue mean?
Solo playing.
And we're going to be at DreamHack in Austin. Don't have all of our event schedules out just yet. Chat question: if the strafing attack penalty on movement speed is being reduced, what does that mean for Sparrow's invigorate ability? Invigorate.
So that's the Sparrow's E. I think he's talking about with like the
increases the speed.
yeah, the
attack
move speed. Yeah, oh, the attack speed, and then it like helps on move speed penalty. Like,
Oh, right.
I believe like
gone,
50%
wouldn't
or
it?
something.
Yeah, it wouldn't matter. Or unless they were like slow, wouldn't that help? Maybe kick them out.
Yeah, so I mean I would assume it'd be that's what it would end up tying to, but like we'd have to get
I have
more
to
specifics on
exactly.
that.
I don't know the
can get more
exact
specifics
specifics
on that.
on Sparrow's invigorate on that, so I have to figure that one out for you.
Is there a penalty if you get hit?
Like while you're attacking
Like,
somebody?
let's say a ranged person's attacking a melee person and it hits the melee person. Are they that little effect that they get when they're getting hit? Is
No,
it
I don't
slow?
believe
No.
that.
Okay. I think it's still keeping.
Win a bot system for AFK players in PvP similar to Heroes of the Storm.
So like people go AFK and a bot takes over them.
Yeah.
I assume that's what you're asking.
I have to talk more with the team to see if that is something we can do. Alia. Currently, we haven't shared any plans about players AFK. Whatever swag is at PAX, not just lady.
No, you can't get a refund on your PAX ticket. No.
Did you guys learn anything new from the Agor's Rising tournament? Yeah, I think we learned quite a bit.
It's interesting to see the
from
strats
viewing.
like from different teams. Like I had that stream on and I kept coming back to it and like watching like the teams execute the strategies and
Strategies,
stuff and like
yeah.
seeing how they played the game because it's always cool to get that insight. It's like I have a certain way like I like playing, but like having the teams actually match up against each other, like it's interesting for sure to see all of that.
Catch up to the questions.
Yeah.
What did
Affinity.
Why is there 50% crit item for carries but no crit reduction item for tanks? We'll have to look. I think we're going to actually look at crit, if I'm not mistaken, overall.
Yeah, and
Talking with the design team, but I don't have any specific answer for that one for you. Big Parrot Jim. You guys post the next new hero on the Paragon page. Right now, it's Iggy. Iggy will be posted there, and he'll be available on Thursday. I think we'll probably keep the next hero a secret until he's ready to be unveiled to the world.
how tall are you?
6.
6 foot. There you go. Answered.
6. Something like that. I don't know if I stood up, I would be like, yeah, about, yeah, I'm about 6.
Nice. All right. Cool. 6 foot.
This is good. Card. Oh. So you guys are adding more cards, right? Like, is it you guys are trying to catch up on the illustration of the art for the card, or is it just adding more
card
gameplay
art
cards?
and more cards will continue to be an ongoing thing. So the team is working on finishing out more card art for the existing cards,
Right.
and then once we get new cards, I don't know if they will be arted or not.
Yeah.
But it'll continue to progress both in the card count, total card count, and the art.
So I remember somebody asked, it was actually really good. They said, are you guys thinking about or adding, because right now it's like a kind of like a, got to get all the cards, collect everything. Are you guys thinking of a trade up system where it's like take all these weaker cards, or you might have tons of duplicate cards, you can throw them in some mixer and then make a better card or something like that?
So card crafting will be a thing, and I'm sure once we have more details available for card crafting, you will be able to use some of your duplicate cards to contribute to making something that you want. Yeah, for sure. This is it. I'm going to answer one more question. If I can scroll all the way down. Oh, it's a jungle question. Are there any plans on making the Orb Prime more risky to fight? So, one of the things I think that, perhaps we could stress this more, but one of the things that's important to understand is that there's still a lot of alpha content in the game. The jungle I think we did maybe an initial pass probably during the online test, but we haven't touched it too much.
Yeah.
So things like the Orb Prime, which they were calling the gummy bear.
Nice. I like that.
during Gore Rising tournament, the white camps, the blue camps, red camp, all the camps in the game. They've not received a final pass yet, so we're still working on all of those things. And for the longest time, we've now had alpha content placement there. As we work towards finalizing the content in the jungle, you'll see things like the damage values and the actual game balance related to those specific camps improve. I think we are aware of some of the lingering concerns that you guys have about the jungle. And again, we were there. We were able to watch a lot of that during the tournament with triangle formation going in at level 5, for example, and 5 manning the Orb Prime. So it's definitely something that we're looking at. But again, as we get more of the content ready for the jungle, we'll start making some of those adjustments. So hopefully that answers that question for you guys. Soon. It's coming. We're looking at it. So thanks, Marlo, for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
Being on the stream.
Appreciate it.
Hopefully you guys all and girls have checked out his channel, sub to him. He produces some amazing videos. Again, some of the best highlight videos out there in the community. And for everyone that tuned in, Iggy available Thursday, the 21st. Iggy and Scorch will be out. We talked a lot about the design, the art, and his kit and strategical value of Iggy at the very beginning of the stream. So this will be available up on YouTube. So if you missed anything, you guys can go back and watch on the Twitch channel or on YouTube later. But thanks so much, everyone, for watching. You can follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and follow the Twitch channel. You can go to the Reddit subreddit. You can go to the forums. You can
follow me around at Pax.
You can follow Mooney around at Pax. You can go to all the places.
All these things are possible.
We're out. See you guys.